What's going on, Con World out there? And you are listening or watching another episode of the Game and Watch podcast. This is episode number 68. And this is our final episode of the calendar year. So you know what that means. Happy holidays, happy new year. This is going to be our final episode of 2021, moving our way into 2022. So I'm very excited. I know you guys are going to be excited too of what we got planned. So, but before we get into that, let me go over the co-host that I have with me today. First and foremost, Mr. Matt Bliss. Thank you for filling in for me once again with hosting duties last week while I had to step out and attend to something. I appreciate that.
No worries. I did a great job. It's my podcast now, so sorry, but you're a guest on my show.
All right. I guess I just hosted now. We got Mark, aka Mr. Madness, back in the building with us here today.
What up? It's a little crowded in here. We got a lot of people on today.
Well, it's the final show of the year, so we definitely got to get all hands on deck for this one. From the Fragmented Minds podcast, we got Black Hat Celine. Celine, are you there?
Hey yo.
Hey, welcome, Celine. Great.
Can you
to
not
have
hear
you
me?
back on the show. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. Yeah. We all can hear you.
Thank you.
And then we also have a couple of newcomers to this podcast today. Hopefully they will be back with us after this episode. We got Giddy.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
All right. It's great to have you on the show. And then we have Electrancy. Welcome, Electrancy.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right. So today on the show, we are going to pretty much do the year in. My bad. The producer, the mastermind behind the madness, my main man, the F man, Mr. Finest Dabs, RView Gaming, OVG. He's sitting right next to me. How you doing? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry I forgot you.
I literally drove halfway across the country to hang out with you and sitting right next to you so we can film today, and you forgot about me.
I'm sorry.
Sounds like we got one supporter for it being my show.
Yeah, my bad, man, my bad. I get into a role and yeah, just well, that's one mistake today, but hey, we're gonna make it up. All right, so today on the show we're gonna talk about our personal games of the year, any new hardware we've picked up, and any of those games that we've played that we'd recommend to any of us on this show or our listeners. And we also are going to talk about any games we got going on that we want to get in the future in 2022, as we have a list of games that have yet to come out, but we're looking forward to. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about the status of the podcast, and what we got going on looking into the future. But first, just before we get into everything, just want to remind you that the Game & Watch podcast is a OVG production. We are on Patreon. Definitely support us on Patreon, as this is a podcast by the people, for the people. Support us on all our live streaming platforms: Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And we are also available for your listening pleasure on just about any listening platform out there: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it, we're there. So now with that out of the way, before we get into our first topic, how y'all doing?
Good.
You need to direct it at somebody if you're just going to throw something out there, because there's way too many of us. We're all so excited and so polite. We never want to jump on the question.
I mean,
But I'm
I'm not
doing
polite, but I was letting other people go for once. I'm doing good, you know. Glad to be back. I have some bones to pick. I'm sure it'll come up later. I'm waiting. I got my
Yeah,
ammo ready.
I think finance will be the referee for the bones you have to pick with the certain someone. But we I think we all know what's coming for sure. Um, Giddy Electricity. I know you guys are new, but don't be nervous. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. I've been just counting down my days to New Year's 2022. Just, yeah.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's a new year coming, so I'm excited.
Finally done with 2021. Hopefully, the nightmare is over, but we'll see how this
Oh,
goes.
nightmare.
Yeah, it has been a rough year, I think, for a lot of
Mm.
people, even if ignoring all of that stuff going on, pandemic and all that, just the impact,
Yeah.
the impact that it's had on almost everything and just the fatigue and stuff. It'd be good to start fresh
Mhm.
with a new year, right?
I hear that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, this is why we have video. This is
That's
why
what,
we have
that's
video
what we thought
games.
last year. That's what we thought last year. And here we are. You know, I mean,
You know.
I don't know.
And so, yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great year. You know, you gotta go to the low side in order to appreciate the peaks. So, yeah, I'm excited to have you guys here, and we all are. And yeah, let's jump into it, Justin.
All right. So for our first topic, I'm sure. Well, you know, I'm a big retro guy. Maybe not the retro king, but a big retro guy, at least on this show. The Analog Pocket is finally here. So I've talked about Analog once before on the show, and this is a pretty good product for the most part. If you have any old Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Advance games laying around, or even Game Gear games laying around, this is going to be the handheld of handhelds, as this can play your old games at a great resolution for the most part, and it does FPGA, so it's not using any kind of emulator or anything. And then of course they'll have add-ons later for other uh, handhelds like the TurboGrafx 16 and the Neo Geo Pocket, you know, just to name a few. So this is a, you know, really good piece of hardware, and it's been taking the internet by storm. And it also has a dock too, so if you want to play it on your TV, you can. So how y'all feeling about this new Analog Pocket? It's finally here. Are you guys gonna get your hands on it? Are you guys gonna dust off your cartridges? Let's start with Mr. Madness.
Well, I don't have. You have to have cartridges, don't you, to play on this? Do you have to still have all the cartridges?
Yes, but I'm pretty sure they will come out with a jailbreak where you can just load games
Yeah, I'm
onto an
sure.
SD card. I mean, they did it with the
Uh,
Super NT, which I have. So, I mean, it's. I'm sure they will, but I mean, well, even if
it's
you don't have the cartridges, what were your thoughts on it?
what's for it? It looks real nice. First, I thought it was just Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy, and then I saw it's Color too. I mean, Game Boy Advance too. So that really kind of makes it a little bit more worth the price because it doesn't come cheap. But this is about if you ever wanted a high end Game Boy, like this is it. It's a really nice piece of hardware, and if you're into that kind of thing, you can't go wrong with buying one of these. For me, I'm not really there with that. Um, I'm not. I don't need to have like a total not even redone Game Boy. It's like better than the Game Boy. But I could see the market for it. If somebody gave it to me, I wouldn't not play it. But I'm not gonna drop the $220 for one. But I could see people that would.
I would if I still had that back catalogue of games sitting there not doing a whole lot. Unfortunately, I got rid of most of my Game Boy Advance and original Game Boy stuff. In fact, no, that's a lie. I went on holiday and my Game Boy Color and games got stolen. So that was the worst thing for me. But yeah, I'm the same. I don't think I'd pick this up unless I had, unless I had the actual stuff to load into
I
it
mean,
left
if you
over.
wanted to buy one of these, though, I don't think you can get it till 2023. I think that's when they expect it to ship now. So think about it, but you have to order it now, Matt, if you wanted to replace it.
Yeah, I'd be more willing to get an SP, a GBA SP, like secondhand, refurbish it, do a bit of a hobby job on it. I think that'd be more my style.
Yeah, for me, I think the Switch Lite would be the way I would go. Like if I'm gonna spend like $200+ for this and then have to hunt for these games, and these games, like, even though this piece of hardware may be updated, just the games aren't going to have those the ease of life improvements that you get when you get a remake, or just the older games coming out on the newer generations. And I mean, while these games were fun, they were tough, and some things are just meant to stay in the past. But I mean, it's a cool piece of hardware, like Mr. Madness said earlier. If someone were to give it to me, I mean, I would not play it. I mean, I'd probably pick up Tetris and a couple of Game Boy Advance games, but yeah.
Celine, yeah, you had a Game Boy growing up. I remember a couple episodes back you talked about playing, Link's Awakening. So, do you have any games in the vault that you might want to try out on this thing, perhaps?
She's having internet trouble.
Oh, she's having internet trouble. Okay. Giddy, Electrancy, do you guys have any interest in this device? Did you guys play any Game Boy games back in the day, or Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Gear? What was your handheld?
Yeah, actually. In high school, actually, that was when I started playing Game Boy Color. I actually didn't have one, and I had a friend who basically sold me his for like $5.
Right on.
And I was super happy about it. So yeah, Game Boy Color is awesome. The only thing is, I have no idea where my cartridges are. And I didn't have that many. I think I had like 5 in total. I had like Super Mario Land 2. I had Link's Awakening. I think everybody had Link's Awakening. I had Pokemon Yellow, and then I think I had a Wario game.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you had some pretty good games for it. So,
and then Donkey Kong. Can't forget that one. Yeah,
Donkey Kong Land or Donkey Kong 94.
Donkey Kong Country, I think.
I guess. One. Well, maybe it was. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country was on the Game Boy. Yeah, so maybe you had that one. Okay. I mean, yeah. So I've been on a little bit of a Game Boy kick lately. I don't know if you guys saw in the Discord, I posted a Super Game Boy I got, and I was going to use it on my Super NT so I could start streaming some, Game Boy games also. I mean, I do like to do the emulation, but it's always cool, like, if you could do like original games cartridges off the hardware, not just depend on the whole emulation part of it. So I am a little bit in the hunt for some Game Boy games, maybe not so much Game Boy Advance games, but I mean, this is a good piece of hardware. But I do gotta agree with you guys for that $200 price tag, and then another $100 for the dock, or how much ever that costs. Yeah, I think I might be waiting for a little bit of a price dip, or see if I can get it from someone like on eBay or one of those other online marketplaces or something. So, but I mean, it's a good piece of hardware. I mean, if you have the games for it, and you want to play your Game Boy games, on a bigger screen, then by all means, definitely go for it. Oh, there she is, Celine. You got any thoughts on this Analog Pocket? Can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry about this. I'm definitely getting a Ethernet cable for in the new year. Yeah, overall, I would say it's almost like an evil genius kind of way, because people remember things better than they were most of the time when it's something that you hold quite close to heart. So it's almost like you're kind of feeding into that part of nostalgia. At the same time, it's like you physically have to have the hardware to make use of it. So it's definitely very niche at the same time. So I think it's going to be interesting, kind of just to see how successful this is going to go.
All right, right on. Any final thoughts before we move on from the Analog Pocket? Great piece of hardware. Can't wait to see what developers do with it. Can't wait for the jailbreak, so people don't got to go out and go cartridge hunting.
The only comment I had is they are making it an Atari Lynx add-on support for it, and I'm just like, why? Who is gonna buy an Atari Lynx add-on for that?
Someone who played an Atari Lynx back in the day. Come on
They
now.
didn't sell a lot of those. I can't imagine there's a lot of them out there. That's why I'm like, of all the things, the Neo Geo Pocket Color, I can see that, or even the TurboGrafx 16, which isn't a handheld system, but you can play it on there, makes more sense than Atari Lynx.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, if no more thoughts on that one, we will move on. It's looking like Sony PlayStation 5 will be coming out with some new controllers, and these controllers look really nice. Midnight Black, Cosmic Red. What are the other colors? Nova Pink, Starlight Blue, and my personal favorite, Galactic Purple. So they're coming out with these 5 new controllers. And to add to it, they're coming out with some faceplates now. Surprise, surprise, faceplates of the same colors to match them. So it's looking like the color customization will cost $54.99, at least in the US. And is this what Sony had planned all along, or are they just putting this out now so other companies will stop biting them on these faceplates that they trademark? So I'm curious, guys. I want to know what y'all are thinking with this.
There is one thing that I observed with the ad. They have exclusively expressed it with the disc version of the console, and it's like, you've launched 2 different versions, and you've not hinted at the idea that these plates. Oh no, sorry, I was just looking at it again. It's just like the final stills look like they could be both, but mostly looks like they kind of focus on the disc version. I'm like, hopefully they do them for the digital version as well, because otherwise they're going to be kicking themselves.
Yeah, there's no way they wouldn't.
But they are they have different ones. They do have a different one, but they're only focusing on the one. My issue is that they cost $55 for a faceplate. That's just wild. Too much money.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of saw that coming with as far as the price tag goes. I don't know why plastic just costs a lot. It costs a lot to manufacture.
You can get a controller for $10 more. Like, that's crazy to me.
And the brand or D-brand or whatever isn't, their prices are equivalent also. And I'm sure any other people, that come up with them. Yeah, I understand. It's going to be a different value proposition for everyone. But as far as this in particular, what bothers me is that I would have just loved to seen actually custom, like an actual custom, like based on a brand, whether that be like God of War, Horizon's right around the corner, a Spider-Man one, something that's not so timid. I mean, they may be testing the market, but we obviously know the market's out there because we've already had multiple companies tried to create these faceplates and tried to sell them, and have sold them actually, sold thousands, and then Sony comes in with their lawsuits and puts a stop to it. But yeah, I would really have loved something just more branded, to something to their first parties. So I don't even have a PS5 yet, but I would have bought it in preparation for that, just having that custom faceplate, because I've never had an opportunity to buy those custom consoles, because I've always been pretty much a first year adopter of these consoles. So there's never been another reason for me to like go out and just buy a second console in order to get these special edition consoles, or whatever you want to refer to them as. So just having this generation where you could just swap the plates, I was really looking forward to that, and I know it's eventually going to come. But with just this first iteration, I would have loved to seen that being a year into the console generation.
All right. Anyone else got thoughts on these PS5 custom faceplates? Besides myself, does anyone in here also have a PS5? I mean, I know. I mean, me personally, I'm not going to buy them right now. Like Madness was saying, I agree that it's I think they should be cheaper.
You should get all the colors for that price. That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it should be a bit cheaper than that.
Yeah, it's almost the
Electric,
price of the game.
yeah, it's just like you can buy like a nice quality game with that. Electricity, Jitty, you guys, uh, what are your thoughts on the faceplates?
I don't have a PS5, so I don't know that I can comment. But like all I can think of right now, like about the PS5, all I can think about is that PS5 candle meme. If you guys know what I'm talking about.
No,
You'll have
no,
to tell us a little bit more.
yeah, explain
Like
further.
if you just go to Google and search PS5 candle meme,
Oh, right. I think
it's
I
the first thing
posted
that
that on
pops
the
up,
Discord.
and there's a lot of copies.
Yeah, working on
It
a
smells
picture
like
for us.
you're not getting one. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, so just for the audio listeners, it looks like a scented candle. It says PS5 smells like you're not going to get one.
Oh, yeah. That's been a running gag since it came out. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, me personally, it would be nice if it would be nice if more of them were available, or if retailers would just put them in stores. But I mean, right now we're just dealing with the hand we're dealt with when it comes to the PS5s, and hopefully it improves in terms of.
If you wanted to buy like a faceplate, not from Sony, how much does it cost? Like,
Yeah,
what's
how
like
much
the?
are D brands?
I don't even know. Like, what am
faceplates?
I don't even compare it to, really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that's a
good
good
question.
I believe D brands are 50. I believe D brands are 55. So I mean, there's not too much of a price variation there. I don't know if that includes shipping or not, but I don't know. Like they sell cell phone cases for $30 or $40 for otter boxes and stuff like that. So that's why this doesn't surprise me so much in terms of like the actual cost, or even decals for your controllers or the decals for the consoles have been in the $20 to $40 range also. So I mean, I expect it. I know it's a lot regardless, but yeah, I feel like it's on par with what I expected also.
I looked it up. It's like they have like custom ones you can build for $60.
Wow.
So
Well,
you can make it lots of different options.
You got to remember too, we talked earlier this year on the podcast about D-Brand getting chewed out by Sony for infringing on a patent they didn't have. It probably doesn't behoove them to be competitively priced, especially if they don't want to draw the attention of Sony.
They specifically call out the fact that these are not illegal all over everything here.
Yeah. Yeah, I reckon that
So it's
probably
pretty fun.
I
contributes
believe
to
it was the kind of button symbols that were trademarked as such. So so what D-Brand did is they deliberately made their own versions of them to kind of circumvent the lawsuit, and I think that got them off the hook.
a bunch of hexagons and decagons and stuff like that, I imagine.
I think they kind of made them look a bit more characterized, if I recall correctly. So yeah, I mean,
you'd be correct. Yeah, the previous ones that D-Brand had were exact copies, and then they even had like the circled X's and circle X's and squares that were specifically on the PlayStation controllers and on the plates. Yeah, they had those on the D-Brand ones, and then they put little faces in them in order to change it up.
All right. Any final thoughts on faceplates for your PS5? If you guys can get a PS5, will you get one, or just go with the main white one that they got? I'm just a little curious.
I mean, it's not so much mine as ours, so I would probably have to consult my other half, but I could see him being interested in one just because, one, extra protection, and two, the white shows up the slightest smidge of dust, whereas I think with the matte black would look really good. So there is a chance we might get another one at some point just for that kind of combined. But on the flip side, we're looking at moving around the country, so we'll see. The PS5 is coming with us, by the way.
All right,
So,
for sure.
sorry, guys. I just need to very quickly shout out the D-Brand site. The talk of it not being illegal is fair, but the way that this page works just...
Oh, it's fantastic. Makes me almost want to buy it. I don't even have a PS5.
I'm going to add a picture of the stream here. This is the Dark Plates 2.0 from the D-Brand website. And as I scroll down the page, you'll see that there's a creeping mast. It's like a product placement for something from Venom 2.
I think I've seen this.
You'll also note, very cheekily up in the top left-hand corner, underneath the name of it is check plate, lawyers, full stop. So I don't know.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're underestimating D-Brand's ability to have ire and feel a little bit like they need to point some barbs at Sony there. But anyway.
Yeah, they're definitely cutting corners. All right, but just if anyone out there in the market that's trying to get a PS5, good luck. You'll need it. All right. Anyway, so the rest of the podcast is pretty much going to be game heavy with what's coming out from Xbox, these new Switch Online games, and what happened at the Nintendo Indie World Direct that they just out of nowhere surprised us with. So let's start with the Xbox games. Looks like these games have already been out. Looks like they added some games to their cloud console and PC. I'm going to go through them right now. We're going to talk about the games people should be on the lookout for. So we got Lake, Firewatch, Broken Age, Ben 10 Power Trip, Mortal Kombat 11, The Gunk, Race with Ryan, Paw Patrol, Mighty Pup Save Adventure Bay, and Transformers Battlegrounds. And looks like all these are for cloud console and PC, and they are already out now. Any of these games that any Game Pass users should definitely download and play as soon as they get a chance.
Absolutely. I've actually downloaded and played a bit of The Gunk yesterday, which is the first Thunderful game to be released of the many that will soon be coming. If you missed it, it was the big announcement that had Mark Hamill playfully trying to hang on to a storybook of all these awesome games coming out, but it's actually quite good. It's got some good vibes. It's definitely not a hard game. If you looked at it and thought it felt like a Kena Bridge of Spirits, you wouldn't be too far wrong. But it doesn't have that massive combat element to it, and it's not incredibly hard, as Kena is sometimes. But, it's about someone landing on a planet and trying to find some stuff to take back to their own planet to sell, and they end up unwrapping an entirely big story in an ancient civilization that's been preserved and kind of trapped by this gunk that you essentially suck up with a glove that essentially acts as a vacuum cleaner. It has the same kind of catharsis.
It almost sounds like what's that? No Man's Sky and Slime Rancher combined.
A little bit, and I in fact thought of Astroneer first, except that when you suck up the gunk, you can't really do anything with it; it just disappears. But yeah, very similar vibes. It takes a lot of inspiration from a lot of different games, I think, but very good. I would highly suggest anyone pick it up, or if you're looking to get someone Game Pass for Christmas, it would be a good reason to, I think.
Yeah, it reminded me of Ghostbusters and Kena also. So yeah, that looks like a good game for me. I mean, I don't know. There's Broken Age. Broken Age is a wonderful game. I haven't played that for a while. Heard great things about Firewatch also. But yeah, I don't know. Nothing here that really that you I feel like you have to play. But it's awesome that they're adding these games because the more games, the better.
Race with Ryan. Come on, no, doesn't do it for you. All right.
What the hell?
No, but the Ben 10 game does that. I might, yeah.
I already played and really enjoyed Firewatch. So I highly recommend if you haven't played that already. I actually spent money on that one and wait for Game Pass. That was a long time ago. Really enjoying Mortal Kombat 11. Very good. It's the story. The story is kind of out there, but it's still a fun game to play. And Lake is next on my to play list. I'm looking forward to playing that as well. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But I did get the Race with Ryan and the Paw Patrol for the kiddo because the games like that never really seem to come on Game Pass. So I think that's a pretty big deal because that's a big thing for kids. Hey, it's not just shooters and EA games. Like to get these kids licensed games, it's a pretty big deal.
Definitely. Firewatch 2. Has anyone mentioned that yet?
I don't think so. You think that's a must play for some people that got it?
Absolutely. It's an older one. I think it came out originally in 2016 or 17. But yeah, it's very good game. I almost don't want to describe it. Don't want to ruin it.
You can beat it in a night, maybe 2 nights. It's not that long. Yeah. Really good though.
Yep. I recommend it.
Yeah, I know for me, what I'm looking at is I think I posted a review of the Gunk somewhere on our Discord. So yeah, definitely check that out. It kind of reminded me a little bit, believe it or not, of Splatoon. It feels like you're cleaning up like the mess that you make after playing like a game of Splatoon, whatnot. And then Transformers Battlegrounds. Find out you're a big Transformers guy. Do you got any thoughts on that one, or that's any good? Because that would be one that I would be looking at.
Yeah, you can pass it up.
All right, Giddy Electricity, you got any thoughts on any of these Xbox games that just came to Games Pass? You guys even use Game Pass for the Xbox?
My daughter is 1, so she's a little bit young for Paw Patrol, and I'm 35, so I'm too old for Paw Patrol.
Whoa! I have to cut you off there. Okay, I watch Paw Patrol, my son.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
He's only 3.5, and you're not too old. You're not.
Okay.
You're never too old for Paw Patrol.
Man, they're on a roll. Come on.
Yeah, you just gotta find which dog relates to you the best. For me, it's Sky. I gotta fly. That little pink mutt, relates to me in just the most ways. No, but all joking aside, yeah, no, continue what we were saying.
I think the Gunk looks pretty cool. I'm kind of like one of those people that's obsessed with like what the reviews say and stuff. But this is kind of like one of those games that kind of has like mixed reviews. It's like people like it, but then like Metacritic is like people are complaining. IGN, people are complaining. True Achievements, yeah, pretty decent score, like for the most part. I think the Gunk has a potential for a game that I might play. Mortal Kombat, I played so many Mortal Kombats. It's just like, is this going to be a new Mortal Kombat, or is it going to be like the previous ones before it? I like Mortal Kombat, by the way. It's just always looking for something new. That's kind of like my main drive when I play a game. I want the newest experience possible. So, that's what I look for in a game. What else you had here? Lake looks like it might be fun. I don't know much about it. I mean, other than that basically it's just an indie game that is trying to get attention. But it looks like something I might check out.
If you've ever wanted to be a woman in her 30s working for a computer company in the 80s and then cover your dad's postal working route for 2 weeks while he's just about to retire and they find his replacement, then it's the game.
Wow. Well, when you set like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Electrancy, I'm sorry, can I just ask you a quick question? You said you're
sure.
You're big on reviews. Like what at what point is the cutoff for a review for you? So like when you hear it's a 7 out of 10 or a 3 out of 5,
Yeah.
like
So like 70% is like that is the cutoff point. So like it's like the gunk is at 71%, so it's like the lowest threshold. I probably wouldn't check it out if it was 69%. And that's terrible of me. I know I shouldn't do that, but it's just there's so many games out there, you know what I mean? There's just so many games, and you gotta pick and choose, right? I mean, if they were all free, I'd check all of them out. But I mean, the reality is they're not. So you just gotta pick and choose, right?
So
That's the sad reality.
what outlet do you rely on most for review scores? Because they can vary
I
quite a lot.
believe in the scientific method. You know, just got to look around at all of them. There is no like one avenue of like this is the definitive source of information. I just believe you have to look at all of them because, like, you know, one of them could be biased, if that makes sense.
Oh, always. Like some places are going to rate Halo Infinite very high, and some will rate it very low
Right.
because of
And what I see
microtransactions.
is right. I see a lot of like people who have a preference for like real-time strategy or platformers, like, and then when they review first-person shooters, it gets a lower review. And I'm like, well, why are you reviewing a first-person shooter? You're not the audience for this. So like, you really do need to look around.
Yes. Sorry, we've got a rolling turntable of people whose internets are popping on and off intermittently.
This is a worldwide show with a
It's
little
the
bit of
new year
technical difficulties.
that's
It
coming.
happens.
Absolutely
It's
is.
the
Yeah,
New Year
I'm gonna blame
spirit.
the fact. Remember, I moved 2 weeks ago, so things are a bit messy around here.
You know, it's really
I
funny.
moved
I'm not
7
even
years ago and things are still messy. So I understand.
I'm not even targeting you with this, Celine. Like, we can see Too Tall working away in the background there, trying to get his computer going because he's dropped off. It's
I don't
I don't know
feel so
what's
bad
going on.
now. Like I know my internet was disconnecting like once, and now I feel like that's not so bad.
Yeah, pretty sure I dropped off like a little while ago. I don't think
Yeah.
you did
Yeah.
for me, but yeah,
Yeah.
all's good.
it's literally a rolling crew.
Yeah. So bear with us, audience, both audio and video, while we try and get on top of this stuff. Shall we move on to the next
I could
topic?
talk about. I mean, I could keep talking about Game Pass. You know me. I could go on all day.
Look, I think if you're going to say anything about Game Pass, surely it would be if you don't have it yet, get it. Because there's so much stuff there, right?
It goes on sale a lot. You can get pretty good deals all the time, especially if you just get the ultimate. That way you get gold and Game Pass in one. The cloud gaming is great. Justin, Too Tall is back. The host is back. Finally, he can put us all in our rightful places.
He's saying
It seems
stuff
like
we
everyone's
can't
just having internet issues. I don't know what it is. I guess it's just see what you started, Mr. Madness. I blame you for this. Your sickness is cause everyone's internet to just scrap out. My internet, Celine's internet, Electricity's internet, maybe even Matt's internet. I don't know. But
You just blame me. I'm the one with the gigabit internet, so I don't want to hear nothing. I pay good money for that internet. Thank you very
and
much.
I'm as close as Australia can possibly get to gigabit, which is not close enough, but you know.
Hey, it happens. It happens. All right. So moving on. Looks like the Nintendo Switch Online has released 5 new games that they're putting out for. Well, it looks like they've already put it out for the Genesis portion of the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. Pretty good games. Altered Beast, Toe Jam and Earl, Dynamite Heady, Sword of Vermilion, and Thunder Force 2. You know, these are good games, but, you know, you're now getting people complaining that, hey, what about the NES and SNES games that, you know, we're still technically paying for? Are we going to get any more of those? So it has people in an uproar. But, I mean, the good news is more games are coming to the Switch, you know, for the other consoles that they have besides the N64. But you got other guys talking about, hey, what about the SNES and the NES? Are we going to get more games for that? Switch owners out there, what are your guys' thoughts?
No, Altered Beast. I mean, that was my jam back at the arcade. I mean, if anything's gonna sell me on this package, it's definitely gonna be that game because I used to just dump quarters just to play that game. So excited to see that. What's up? What's up? What's up, Mr. Madness?
It's such a bad game. It's really not good.
No, I mean, are you looking
The
at it from
arcade
now, or are
version
you
is
looking
better
at
than
it
the
from?
Genesis. Even back then, I was like, the arcade version was just so much better than the Genesis version.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it from those nostalgic eyes. I'm not talking about it now. If I was to look at it now, yes, it's not a very good game. But if
I
I'm
don't think
looking at it
anybody's
like,
clamoring to play Altered Beast on their Nintendo Switch.
look, it Switch isn't giving you much. You got to take what you can get.
And like the only one out of these that's interesting is Dynamite Heady, really, because most people probably haven't played that.
What is that? What is that? Dynamite.
Dynamite Heady is it's a platformer. That's about as best as I can describe it. I believe it's made by Treasure, if my memory serves me correctly.
Okay. Well, look, as
But,
someone who both doesn't have a Switch and doesn't have the nostalgia for these games, it's not enticing me too much if I can represent that portion of the market.
Right. So yeah, I was right. Dynamite Heady was the game that the Treasure did after they did Gunstar Heroes, which everybody seems to have super fond memory of, but they forgot Dynamite Heady existed. So if you're a fan of Treasure games, you'll go and play that. But again, people aren't wrong where they're saying, "Oh, what about NES and SNES games?" It's really not that hard to add these games on and play them. I can't imagine it's that hard. They already were lazy enough with the 64 stuff and just threw it on there. So I don't know why they picked these five.
On a system that has not been built for this. Like Nintendo basically said they're not interested in online. And then they're trying to come around, and I mean I assume that they realize like online is a viable like marketplace where they can make a ton of money. And they're trying to come around and add these features to a system that this thing was not built for. Emulation and adding all these online games into a broken UI and a broken online system that doesn't have the infrastructure to, like, it can't be easy. That's why they just need to come out with something more powerful, but they're not even like, that's not a priority for them, like whatever the reason may be.
So no one's super keen. No one's getting the Switch Online update to get these
I'm
stuff.
not spending $50 a year to play these 5 games. I can tell you that.
I think that can be the tagline under this article.
I mean, me personally, me personally, I'm not gonna pay. I'm not dripping out the $50 to just play N64 and Genesis games. I mean, and I don't play Animal Crossing, so that game with that expansion, I know you can buy that separately, but it's just not worth it to me. It's if they had raised the price to maybe $30, $35, maybe even $40, I would highly consider it. But $50 just for that, I'm okay. I mean, but as for the NES and Super NES games, they need to they need to they're like this. Maybe not so much the NES, but the Super NES. There's still quite a bit of games they can put out. They can put out what is it? Earthbound, Super Mario RPG, and now say what you want. There might be licensing with some issues with some of these games, but there's still like quite a bit of games that Nintendo can explore, at least with their Super NES library of games. Now, as for the Genesis games, I think these are some pretty good games coming out. I know Altered Beast, I really wasn't that big on it back in the day, but I mean, I know people love it. People will get it, and then Toe Jam and Earl, that's like a cult classic on the Genesis, right? I mean, if you had a Genesis, chances are you probably knew someone who had Toe Jam and Earl. I mean, those are some very good games. So, I mean, they're stepping their game up with putting more content out there, but it goes back to the same situation that I've been, since they announced this whole Genesis with the Nintendo Switch Online. For me personally, there's a million million and one other ways I could play these games with the the collections I have, and even this thing that's right in front of me, the Genesis Mini. So I can, yeah. So for me, it's just I'm not gonna do it. So I mean, that's just my opinion. Giddy, Electricy, do you guys have any nostalgia for any of these Genesis games that are coming to the Switch online?
I don't think anyone who does not have the nostalgia for these kind of games will go for it. You really need to be a fan of these games to actually commit to them. So yeah, I've not played them, so I don't think I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah, I really wasn't much of a Genesis fan growing up. I mean, I had friends who had the Genesis, but I didn't really get to play that many Genesis games. I mean, I think that the biggest one for me was Sonic the Hedgehog. And then beyond that, it was like, what else do you need a Genesis for? I think the other game that I saw that you could play, I had a friend that played it, was the Paperboy. So I don't know if you guys ever played that. Yeah, the Paperboy, kind of a classic.
Like Paperboy, that was on they put that thing on everything.
Oh, did they? I don't know.
Oh, it's
Did
on
they put
everything.
Is it okay? I don't know. I don't remember.
If you can
it
play
on
games on
Nintendo.
it, they put Paperboy out for it.
All right,
It's one of those.
I take your word. But yeah, I don't really recall that many games for Genesis, to be honest. So, which is amazing because it was like that was the slogan. What was it? Genesis does what Nintendo don't. It's like, I know that it was more powerful, it was more capable than Nintendo, but apparently that's just not what sells. That's not what people are necessarily into. And even if you look at the Wii, right? I mean, the Wii was relatively weak in terms of technology, but people loved it. People loved it because it's more about the social aspect, right? So I'm not much of a Genesis fan, so that's where I stand.
I think you're in good company here.
Yeah, very, very much so. I wanted one, but it wasn't. It was either one or the other. It was either the Super Nintendo or it was the Genesis, and yeah, you had to follow the games, and then the Super Nintendo was where the games were at. So
16-bit wars, I love it. I was on the side of the Super NES myself, and if we ever do a roundtable on the 16-bit wars, I'll be on the side of the Super Nintendo. That's just about every controller I have is modeled after it. Well, most of them anyway. 8-bit though. Good company. 8-bit
the
though.
Genesis controller didn't have enough buttons. The original 3-button controller. How are you supposed to start playing fighting games on it? That's what for me at the time.
Hey, there was a way, but
I know, but
least
it didn't come out till after the fact.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. But I know with my Genesis Mini, I actually got one out of the box set. Give me a sec. This is still in the box. This guy here. For you audio listeners, I'm holding up a blue 6-button Genesis controller. So yeah.
Way too many controllers.
The 6-button controller was nice, but Genesis, it didn't have that. It doesn't have that lasting impression. There's not a lot of people that are nostalgic for it, which is odd because there was lots of good games for it, but people don't collect Sega stuff in the same way that they do Nintendo stuff. It just don't. I don't really know why. I feel like Genesis games are even more collectible because they came in nicer cases, so they've withstood over time. Like they're much easier to get like a full nice box of a Genesis game. But people it's just Nintendo or nothing. Even in Europe where Nintendo wasn't really that huge, and it just feels like it's never getting the right. It's never hitting the right people at the right time. Maybe the people that play Genesis don't play games anymore. I don't know. They've grown up.
Perhaps. Well, I mean, I will say this. I think the Genesis was the more grown up of the two systems between that and the Super Nintendo. And And if anything, the Genesis I think did a good thing for the gaming industry because they made it okay for adults to play video games. I mean, back then, if you really think about it, they really didn't depict video games as a kid's toy anymore. But some people still
Right.
do. But so I mean,
Leaning into the violent games or
Yeah.
more adult themed games and sports
Night
games really
Trap.
made it. But really,
Yeah.
the sports games though, I think made it more accessible to an older crowd that really wanted to play a sport game, but really can't. You can't just go out and play baseball with your friends as an adult.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. Nintendo surprised us with a Nintendo Indie World Direct, just out of nowhere, out of the blue. They announced some games. We're gonna go through these games, see if any of these games are, worth playing in the near future. So I'm gonna go through these games. We got Sea of Stars, Amori, I believe, Chicory, A Colorful Tale. That looks very interesting. Endling, Extinction is Forever, Ollie World, Figment 2, Creed Valley, Alicia, The Oblivion of Twin Goddess, Locomotive, Dungeon Munchies, and After Love EP. Any of these games from the Nintendo Indie World Direct that you guys are looking forward to, that someone should play, that maybe one of you guys have already played?
Yeah, I don't believe a lot of these are out already, but for me, Ollie
Some of them
World,
are out. Mhm.
yes, yeah, some of them are out, but like Ollie World was is my go-to. Ollie was the original was just a 2D skateboarding game. Just it was very flat and in the way you do things, but it was very addictive in just the mastering of doing your tricks and taking like those elements that you normally see in a Tony Hawk game, and then just kind of doing it almost in a platforming style, just a left to right. And this one taking it to a whole new art style, really bringing characters to the series, which it did not have before. You were just a generic guy. And then just creating this really reminds me of Adventure Time, and the way that art style is and everything, and just it's taking that formula that was already so well done and just really building on top of that. And I'm really excited to see this game and play this game, and get back on the grind. Haha, pun.
For me, Locomotive was the one that stuck out most for me. It like my kind of mystery adventure game, or it's like an old school point and click. That's the one that makes me the most excited. But also, I did want to bring up Dungeon Munchies. Kind of is interesting. I might give it a shot if it were to come on something else, or if it went on sale. It's out on Steam right now in early access, and the reviews are like really, really positive, overwhelmingly positive on that. So there's a lot of people. I get it. It's early access, so people who are going to play it probably tend to be more positive, but it's really positively reviewed. So it might be something there. It's hard to see from the gameplay videos. It just looks like a hectic action adventure platformer Metrovania style, maybe, which I enjoy. So those are the two I'm most looking forward to on that.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Chicory. I haven't played it yet, but I've heard brilliant things about it. That it's really just a chill, vibed out kind of game. Obviously, it's been released already, and it seems really cool. You're a dog, a little puppy that you can give a name.
Did we lose Matt?
No,
I think we have.
I think we lost him.
Oh.
It's
I'm trying to
just
wonder
one
how
of those
much of
things.
this. I think I'm starting to wonder how much of this is our ISPs and how much of this is Restream. I think it's both, but
Well, he's in Australia. I would tend to say it's his ISP.
Matt, there you are.
You'll have to start all over, Matt.
His picture looks frozen. Oh, no, there we go.
His eyes are still moving. Yeah.
That's what I get for not being on full screen.
All right, Matt. Did you wanna jump back in with Chicory, or have you said your piece?
Sure. How many of you made fun of me while I was gone?
All
We were
of us.
making fun of internet,
All of the
and yeah.
Fair enough. Anyway, Chicory, great game. I would suggest checking it out. There's even wholesome things like a hint system where you ring your mum, and she gives you like a little hint, like a hint that points you in the right direction but doesn't tell you everything. And then your dad pesters your mum to get on the phone instead and tell you the answer, but you only ask to talk to him if you definitely want the full answer. So there's cute little things like that in it. It seems like a really cool, good vibe game. Kind of in the same realm as Lake and all of those games. I'm really hoping you guys are still here and I haven't dropped out. Someone say something,
No, you're
please.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
we
back.
hear
I'm
you.
back. All right. So, any final thoughts on the Nintendo Indie World Direct before we move on to our main discussion of this podcast?
I think you guys have hit the two games that kind of struck me out when you talked about Locomotion and Chicory. I like the idea of having those on my Switch.
Yeah, I think Locomotive is probably where I'm most interested. Big fan of pixel art games. Be nice to see it get ported over to PC though. I'm more of a PC gamer, so
It is. It's on Steam.
oh,
You can
okay.
pre-order
So it's
it.
actually being ported from. Oh, awesome. Okay, I'll check it out then.
For all
All
you
right,
Steam
cool.
people out there.
All right. Well, that being said, let's kick off the main discussion of the show. Not the game awards, but our personal games of the year. So I want to open up the forum right now. Who would like to start with some of the good games that they've played all year long? I mean, come on. Let's not all rush now.
I'm torn between two. One I have talked about on and off in recent, so I talked about it last week as well. Apollo and I finished It Takes Two just this evening, and it is well crafted. The game keeps reinventing itself. There are mini games to find, which you can also do for fun, and it was satisfying. It was definitely very satisfying. So while I don't really buy the idea of it being like a family game as such, because you've got this couple who are fighting. They've just decided to divorce for the big start of the game, and they get pulled into this whole strange fiasco. But and the beginning in particular, they're kind of acrimonious against each other. So yeah, and then the other one for me, well, I know it's Apollo's as well, as Monster Hunter Rise.
Yeah, very, very good choice in games. Definitely. Anyone else wanna discuss some of the good games that they've played all year long? They can be new, old. I mean, we don't discriminate. We love our retro here, as you know. So
I recently got back into Quake because they actually pushed an update this year after 26 years since the game has
original
been...
Quake.
Yeah, the original Quake. They pushed an update. Yeah, it's an awesome update because not only did they update the engine so that it looks like smoother and stuff, and just plays a lot better. They actually added 3 additional games on top of it, within Quake. So it's a lot of content. I don't think I could play all of that content in 50 or 60 hours, and I'm a pretty seasoned game player, so it's a lot of content. I've already beaten the game. Oh, sorry.
I want to see. I just want to see you stream it.
Yeah. I actually am streaming it. It's on my Twitch channel. I've already streamed a couple of it, a couple episodes with some demos of playing the game. But the original Quake I beat like within like I'd say 15 hours. So I mean, and that's just like trying to find as many like secrets as possible and stuff. But yeah, I don't think I could beat the whole thing that quickly. It's just, there's a lot more content now, so it's worth checking out. So far, I would say out of this year, even though it's like an old game and maybe technically wouldn't fit the bill of like games from this year, I would say for me, like Quake has made a huge comeback, and I honestly wasn't even a huge fan of Quake, to be honest with you. I mean, I played the original game and I thought it was pretty cool, you know. But when they pushed that update, it was worth revisiting it for me anyway.
Well,
they also go ahead.
I was just going to
Sorry.
say that if you're a fan of Quake, there's a lot of games that have come out in the last 5 to 10 years that are very similar and have those feels. I'm not talking about Doom 2016. More recently, Into the Pit came out on Game Pass, and it definitely has those Quake vibes. They kind of added a roguelike kind of thing to it, where you upgrade your powers and you're firing spells out of your hands as you run around, Quake style. But you might want to give that a look if you have Game Pass. It's
Okay,
very similar
for sure. The other thing is they made a sequel. I mean, obviously they made a sequel to Quake 2, but they made the sequel. They turned it into Quake 2 RTX, like way back. I think it was back in like 2019 or something, but or maybe 2018 even. That's actually what got me back into Quake in the first place. That's Bethesda Works. They did that, and so they're trying to bring attention back to some of the old ID software games. id Software. Do you guys see id or ID?
I hear
id.
Yeah.
id. Okay.
I think that's awesome. And I feel like they are trying to bring back attention to it because the way their cycle works, I feel like now that we've got Doom and that's passed and everything, and then them doing this like refresh or the update, I feel like the next game in their lineup would be a new Quake game. So I feel like that's something like we could realistically see like in the next couple years. But yeah, and then I guess I'll just jump in since I'm already here. And yeah, this year has been interesting for me in particular, just because I fell off of Destiny 2. I was a big Destiny 2 player. So this is like I've gone a year and I've broken my addiction without playing that game. Because I played that game for like thank you. I played that game for like 5-6 years like straight, and every other game was a side game. Like every other game was the game I'd pick up, I play for a couple hours, I get a taste of it, but it wouldn't get its hooks in me like Destiny did. And so coming into this year, and just kind of seeing the lineup at the beginning of the year, I was very much not interested in a lot of the games that were initially announced in this year. So I started the year playing Final Fantasy Remake. And then that was pretty nice. I was really feeling that game. Only to dive into Dead Cells, which definitely got its hooks into me, and there's been constant updates. Most recently they have another update that just came out, or that's about to come out, I'm sorry. And I can't wait to jump into that DLC and just really discovering my love for rogue likes and rogue and Metrovania type of games, and just experiencing those types of games has been kind of eye-opening this year in terms of like, oh yeah, there are other games that I do enjoy and do like. And then soon as the only thing that pulled me off of Dead Cells was Hades, going into this year, which has been an amazing game in itself, and enjoying that, and just the story actually more than anything, even more than the gameplay for that particular game, is it's just so nice the way that it's done. I believe with Supergiant, right? Yeah,
That's right.
Supergiant. Yeah, is they? I played quite a few of their games, Bastion, Transistor, and those were all like good games, and like they all had particular aspects that I liked about them. But this is like the first one that I'm like all about, and yeah, and then just being on this podcast and talking with you guys and listening to your games, I'm excited to try a whole bunch of other games. So many recommendations, so much homework. Yeah, I don't even know, but playing Hot Wheels, I have it. I bought it sitting at home, still in the wrapper. Haven't even picked that up. Death's Door, still waiting on that I got a couple more days till that one comes out. So I'll be jumping in that one. But just a ton of games. I'm ending this year just very happy about the games that came out this year. I think a lot more smaller games, and not so much AAA games that I've been able to focus on and enjoy this year. And that all that being said, the Destiny 2 Witch Queen expansion comes out next year, so I'll probably be playing that in Horizon. But I'll let someone else jump in after that.
Sure. Well, Hades is a game that I had to mark on my list, even though I played it when it was still in beta before it went 1.0. It's just a great game. Just generally, every year you can just pick it up, jump back in, and you're guaranteed to have a great time, which I did this year as well. But to talk about my favorite games, they're going to be pretty much the indie showcase we saw at the Game Awards, just because a lot of them were incredibly good. And there were a lot of brilliant indie games that came out this year alone, which is really great to see. And in terms of recommendations, obviously, I'd recommend everybody listening that hasn't played these yet that should pick them up just to give them a go. Death's Door was the first indie I picked up this year. Brilliant game, great themes, really good combat. I'd be very keen to hear how you go with that, F. The Forgotten City, which had a shout out from Alfredo earlier this year as well. Not earlier in the later part of this year. It was a previous podcast episode. But anyway, Forgotten City is a brilliant game. Just the way it's been built and the quality and how the story progresses. All of it is great. I won't go over it again because we have talked about it in previous episodes. But there was also a no-clip documentary that came out, I think it was last week, from the Australian developer who was previously a lawyer, gave up his law career to pursue developing this game to great success, luckily. It's a really interesting story if you want to give that a look. Again, Power Wash Simulator, great if you just need an hour away from work to clean stuff and get some catharsis in. It's still in beta as well, but I'd highly recommend that. And Inscription, that needs to be recognized a little bit more than it has, I think, just because it's so unusual and meta. And there's even a mod that's been added to it recently that just makes it slay the spire. So if you like card games, you'll get into that, but get into the recursive aspect of it and you'll see there's quite a lot to unpack there. Maybe we could do like a playthrough sometime, because that seems to be the thing people are doing at the moment. I think there might have been an embargo somewhere written in the background that people shouldn't play it online just so as not to spoil it. But maybe we can do that sometime. And lastly, and I know you know what this is going to be, Mr. Madness, but for all of the fanfare around how terrible it was, I think we need to recognize that 12 minutes is an all right game to reflect on, even if you didn't enjoy the entire experience of playing it. We did talk about the story in a previous episode if you want to catch up on that for full spoilers, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I can
It was good
appreciate
until the
it for
end.
what it was.
The end just ruined it for. But I'm not. You're not wrong. The game was good. It's
Yep.
just the story kind of killed it for me.
Yeah, and there was also aspects like why would you get Daisy Ridley and oh god, I've forgotten his name again.
Willem Dafoe
and James McAvoy, like
mhm.
a very strong trio of actors, to voice cast a game that essentially has the lines on repeat. There seemed to be a lot of development stuff around that the gaming development community and the consumer community weren't really quite around or appreciated, but I still think it's up there. So lots of recommendations out there, just vomited. Give any of them a go or gift them as presents. I'm sure everyone will enjoy them. Also, you did mention in the show notes that we could talk about games that we absolutely hated, that were the worst games. And I have to say, Origami 2 was the worst game that I played this year. Terrible. So bad. I'm not going to go into it.
Origami 2. Okay, copy that. For sure. Before I share, anyone else want to share some of the hottest games that they played this year or, didn't like this year? I mean, this is the hottest, the latest and the greatest, hottest, the oldest.
Going back to the Destiny 2 talk, I was in the same boat with Apex. That was like my jam. Played it like every day. I kind of fell out of it because they've just been adding so much stuff I didn't really care for. So this year, towards the second half of the year, I really started playing a lot more other things. Hades was the first one that really grabbed my attention. Loved Hades. Definitely a must play if you haven't played it already. Psychonauts 2, which I just finished last week. I blew through it in a week. It's so good. The story it's so well written, well acted, voice acted, I should say. The gameplay is really good. Definitely caught me by surprise. Although I did love the first one, but I don't remember loving it as much as I loved the second one. You don't need to play the first one. It does a great enough job setting it up at the intro that you don't have to have any experience with the first one or even the VR kind of one that branches between the two. It's just, you can just hop right into it. And of course, Forza Horizon 5. Of course, that's in there. I feel like I'm the only sports / racing gamer in here, so I gotta push that in there.
No, you're
Horizon
not.
5.
No, you're not.
Feel like I'm the only one that's talking about it. I haven't played NBA yet, but I did play a lot of MLB The Show. Had talked about that. It fell off as baseball season goes on, but Forza Horizon 5 definitely the amount of content you get in that game. I played it for at least I think 20 or 25 hours, and I'm still not even close to beating it. There's just so much you can do in that game, and it's just incredible what they've done. It's well worth it. It's on Game Pass. It's not going to cost you anything to get. So if you have Game Pass, super recommend that as well. As far as the worst game I've played this year, I don't know if I necessarily have a worse. There's been definitely some bad ones I played, mostly because we talked about it on here. But two I would definitely throw in there are Lawn Mowing Simulator and Farming Simulator. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And in Farming Simulator, they kind of like, here's the tutorial. I'm like, all right, it's going to teach me how to play. And you do this thing where, you do one quick thing where you plant and you harvest and you go to the store and sell it. And it takes forever, by the way, because the car not even the car, but you only drive like 25 miles per hour. Then I get back and like somebody I had hired to plant and stuff, he crashed right into me. I'm like, what is this? He's like, all right, you're back. Now you can start. I'm like, start what? Like, you haven't really explained exactly what I'm doing other than here's how to plant. Here you got to sell things. It's like, and it doesn't touch on animals because there's animals in this game. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? This is not for me. I turned it right off. I was like, I can't with this. And then before that was the Lawn Mowing Simulator, which has kind of potential, but the way that it's presented, it's really hard to see if you cut the grass or not. And that's the whole point of the game. Is cutting grass. And if it's hard to see where you've cut and where you've not cut, you've lost. You've really lost me here. At least in Power Washing Simulator, you can see what's clean and what's not.
That's something they do right, though. Like, it looks shiny. There's a sheen off the light in the world. But that grass, it just looks like really shitty
if you're doing a difference between like a large, like if you're just doing one path cut, one path not cut, yeah, you can see that. But when you're trying to figure out which parts you've missed, it's really hard to tell. And it's like, you should complete this level in 26 minutes. And I'm like, 26 minutes to mow a lawn? Like, I don't even mow my lawn that much time. Come on. Why would I want to play a game that does that? That's just too long.
I appreciate you guys doing your homework and making sure that we can speak to these games intelligently and going in there and diving into these games. I just thank you. Thank you so much for
the appeal is play and buy. They spend
Yeah.
actually. I didn't spend money on these games. They're just on Game Pass. But people go and they spend money on these games. And to me, I don't even like mowing my own lawn. So doing it virtually is as boring as doing it in real life. Why would I want to do that?
And just remember, this is like Farming Simulator. Was like it was 22 that came out, and it was Mowing Simulator. I think
20, whatever. And that was we played Farming Simulator 19.
Yeah.
Me and
Okay.
Tutol, we were like both like, nope,
Think,
can't
guys,
do it.
think Desert Bus, right? I mean it.
But nobody actually plays that game for enjoyment.
No, they play it for torture.
Right. But right, they
Exactly.
play, or they stream it on Twitch. Like nobody's at home playing Desert Bus by themselves. Okay, like that's just
It's
that's
like a proper.
that's something
it's
you'd,
like
you'd make like you would put in Guantanamo Bay. Here,
yeah,
you
it's
play
like
this
a way
game,
of
you can't
hazing
leave.
somebody. You just
Oh.
ask them to play the game.
But, like, it's not like Desert Bus is one thing, but these games have sold. I think Farming Simulator 22 sold what, like 2-3 million copies already.
Yeah, it's sold extremely well for it sells. I mean, they sell better than a lot of games.
I
Just
still,
like
I
yeah.
still like my pitch more, which is snowplow simulator. I think that would be a good one.
I thought you found something like that.
Yeah, but it would look like it was made for PS1. It was so
Oh.
awful. It had PS1 graphics, and I'm like, it doesn't give you that satisfaction of a freshly plowed street, you know?
Give
you
it
need-
another 10 years. The technology will get there.
Or we
Well,
had
the first
the-
about
You could do it right. You could do if there's power washing simulator. Somebody's gonna make a snowplow simulator.
Oh, God.
Or what was the other? What's the other big one? Gas station simulator, right?
Yep. Yeah.
what?
But the snow one, the snow one's interesting though, because you're pushing around like a finite amount of matter in a single space. So that might look really good, but it may be the most frustrating game to play on the planet because you're pushing the snow and it goes outwards. And if you don't have a proper pattern to make sure that snow is being pushed in the right direction, you could turn around and look at all the snow that you just shuffled from one area gets pushed into the other. So the gameplay might be hard for that one.
Well, you do that in lawn mowing simulator. If you use a specific type of lawnmower, you got to go pick up the grass. Otherwise, you lose money. Really, yeah, really you have to do that.
Simulator. Yeah.
All right.
That's a
Okay. All
simulator.
right. Let's
Simmer
all right.
down.
So yeah, simmer down now, guys. All right. But before I go, anyone else want to discuss any good games and bad games that they played this year?
I've only scratched the surface on it, but I forgot that Persona 5 Strikers came out back in February. If you the weird thing, the annoying thing about Koei Tecmo is that when they're doing their own stuff, it's half baked. Like if you've seen Dynasty Warriors 9, you know what I'm talking about. But when they do licensed games like Hyrule Warriors or Fire Emblem, and now with Persona 5, they do a much better job. And from what I've played so far, it does look really good. I've got it on the back burner. The only annoying thing is, of course, if to understand the backstory, you need to have played Persona 5, which is still exclusive to PlayStation. But Strikers is on Steam as well.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, so I'll go into my favorite games that I played this year that I would definitely recommend to anyone listening or watching us to play. Ghost of Tsushima. I started this late last year, but I didn't really finish it till earlier in this calendar year. But it's a good game. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. A lot to do in the game. If you're into that Japanese, fighting warrior sword showdown battle thing.
Samurai.
Samurai. Yeah, that's the word I was looking. Yeah, samurai. I mean, definitely go for it. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. And then another game I played. This was an older game, but I didn't think I would, really like it too much. But I did. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. It was a miss on the Super NES that me and my guy here, we missed on it, but it's a good game. It's based I mean, many of the Zelda games that came after it is based on that one. So, if you're looking for a good retro title to play, I would definitely recommend that one. I mean, I was looking to play a Zelda game because 35 years. I figured, why don't I just sit down and try playing a Zelda game? And you know what? I did, and it led me to play 2 more Zelda games. Well, actually 3 more. One I didn't finish. Legend of Zelda. Let's see,
Link's
the one.
Awakening, I think you liked one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I forget that first one, but the other 2 were Link's Awakening, the remake for the Switch. Very good, very
Mm.
very good game. And then if you have a 3DS, A Link Between Worlds was also a very good one. Skyward Sword, yeah, that's the one. I played that one, but unfortunately, I did not finish that one. So that
Me
was
neither.
another one. And then 2 more games I want to mention here. Metroid Dread. I think that was probably the best game I played all year long. Metroid Dread. Definitely a classic Metroid. And like I said, if you have a Switch, I would recommend definitely picking that one up. Very, very good game. And the last one, there are more than just one racing guy in this podcast, Mr. Madness. Well, there's 2. He's a big racing guy also, but Forza Horizon 5 is probably one of the best racing games I've ever played. Now, I know there's a lot to do. I haven't dipped into it way too much, but it's definitely the best racing game I've played all year. And Hot Wheels was very good, in my opinion. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, it's like your dream toy racing scene with Hot Wheels, but definitely Forza is very, very good. And I plan on playing it a bit more also. And I'm also proud that I got this guy out of the Destiny 2 because I mean, who suggested Dead Cells to him? Maybe I didn't suggest Hades, but definitely Dead Cells. I'll take the credit for that one. Thank you very much. He actually beat it too. He got a lot further than I did in that game, so I'm very
Wait,
proud
how
of him
much
there.
did you beat it? Because
You,
you can go back and keep beating it.
you can't
Yeah,
beat
that
Dead Cells. You can't.
yeah, no, it's beating it. It means I beat 2 runs, so that
Okay.
means yeah. I still have to. I think you can beat it after you beat it 5 times, right? Though you beat
Yeah,
it
but
5
like on
times, you have
like
to
the
beat it.
super hard difficulty,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
no,
no.
that's a little much for me.
It gets harder every time, and no, I have not beat it that many times, but that's the goal at some point because they're always
I
making
would have
adjustments
been
to the
really
game.
impressed if you had. That's why I asked.
I mean, yes, I beat it 500 times, and
Oh,
yes, all power down.
Those are the games I would recommend. And then in terms of games I didn't like, I really can't think of any games that I played this year that I didn't like. I mean, not offhand,
Farming Simulator.
Okay, maybe that one, but
I
maybe,
gotta
but
ask.
besides the ones that have already been mentioned, I really can't think really of any. It's kind of hard. I do thorough review on games, even retro games alike, before I pick up the controller and start playing them. So let's see. So did everyone get a chance to go in terms of what
I
games
think
they liked?
Electricity was going to jump in there for a sec.
Yeah, I was gonna say I gotta ask you've all uh, basically pointed out the simulators that you don't like. Are there any simulators that you guys do like?
Power Wash Simulator, man. So good.
I can't tell if you're joking or serious.
I know,
Oh,
because you wouldn't
he's
expect it, right?
serious. He's definitely
He's
serious.
serious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Seriously
actually
joking or seriously serious?
No, he's
Absolutely.
serious. He
I got
is
to
serious.
I got to the end. It's still in beta, so they're releasing more environments for you to wash and different washes and stuff like that as time goes on. But I even reset my progress, went back and did it all again because it's not about washing the environments as fast as you can. It's not about getting the most powerful washer and being able to do 5 seconds of washing and clean an entire slide in a playground or something like that. It's about the washing itself. It's about methodically taking a stream and just slowly going through, removing all that dirt. Sometimes you got to put the soap attachment on. Maybe you get some metal rust remover in there. Give that a quick spray. Yeah, primed. Perfect. Okay. Wide nozzle. We'll go with the
I didn't
strongest
realize
stream.
this was an ASMR
Yes.
podcast now.
It totally is. If you could,
Is-
I would write an experience about it.
It's
It's so
is
good.
unpacking. Would you call unpacking a simulator game?
You know what? I kind of would. I think
I
it's more
enjoy
about the story.
unpacking.
Yeah, that was really
It is more
good.
about the story. Well, there's not really a story to it. It's just kind of like you have to figure out the story.
See, I think unpacking is. I completely forgot about that. Actually, that's a really good reminder. That was an interesting game because on the front of it, if you looked superficially and there was nothing else there, you're just pulling things out of boxes and putting them in places.
Right.
But in every new place you move into, there's required locations for certain items that you have. And obviously, the more you grow up, because it's the same person unpacking into different environments, the more things you have and the bigger environments to fill as you maybe start a family or move in with your share housemates, and there's more room for you to fill. But it's the items themselves, the places where they end up. That's where the story unfolds, and that's why that story is so excellent. Like I think it's in the main character that you're unpacking with. She gets a boyfriend and stays in his apartment. Now, she's got all this stuff like a little ukulele and, a gaming console. She's got a laptop. She's got all this art stuff that she does. I think a couple of those things that are her hobbies, you have to put under the bed. There is nowhere else you can put them. But what you draw from that is that he's not making room for her and her hobbies. So you infer from the story that this boyfriend isn't going to be around long because he doesn't respect her. Like that kind of stuff that is unpacked not only from the items but with the story as well. All of that together, like it's a really interesting game. And it's not only the stuff that you unpack and where you put it; it's the items that stay over the 5 or 6 different moves you do as well. And you get through the boxes, you're not sure what's in them, so you're unpacking them as you go, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that soft toy when I unpacked that in the first level of the game when I was 8 or something, and moving into the house with my parents, or the time my parents got divorced maybe, or they moved into a different place. You have memories attached to those items that are the same across them all. Sorry, I realize I've talked about unpacking now for about 5 minutes, but it's that
The
stuff.
game's only
No, that
like
was
2
good.
hours
You
long
sold it
too.
well, man.
So
Yeah, I
I'll
spent more
play it.
time.
it's on
it.
Game Pass. It's on Game Pass. I recommend it. You can blow through it pretty fast and get all the achievements. It's an easy 1,000 if you're into that.
Yeah, and just to answer your question, I shouted out one that my cousin actually liked a lot. I haven't actually had a chance to play it, but he spoke to me about it for like an hour, and it's called Snow Runner. And it's a truck driving simulation game where you drive a semi, and you're carrying different size loads through various conditions. You're driving through forest and snow written mountains and things like that. So that's one I gave a shout out also. But yeah, so but other than that, I think the farming simulator and the lawn mowing simulator is just a big joke with us. Ever since it came out on Game Pass, it's just been it puts a smile on all of our faces just talking about
I
that
think
game.
you just like when I yell about it, really.
Yeah, that we do enjoy that too. Because you're always yelling, but when you yell about that, there's something cute about it. It just makes us all smile a little bit. So
He's not happy about that. Anyway, I was serious about playing Power Wash Simulator. Give it a go. I think you
I
might be
want
able
to play it. I want to play it, but it's not on Xbox. So
No, I think it's only on PC. So
yeah, I
You
don't
could
have
probably-
a powerful enough PC for that.
no, and
At
you
least
want
not
the
yet.
power. You want the power.
I'll take offers. Anybody want to give me one? I put that on
No,
the list
no.
with the Analog Pocket too.
Analog Pocket.
Sorry, the
All
only
right.
thing slower than PS5 stock coming in is me shipping something to America from Australia. So I can't do anything for you. Sorry.
Oh man.
Yeah, but there's a bit of a voltage mess between UK and everywhere else, so can't really help you much there.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that we've talked about the games that we've liked all year, we will talk about we will look ahead to 2022. We'll talk about the upcoming games coming out that we're looking forward to, games that are already out that um, we want that we haven't played yet, but they've been out. Also known as Matt's recommendations because he recommends a lot of games, and then hardware we may want to get or try to get, and then of course our ever so never ending backlogs, which I know we all have. So, who wants to start this one off?
God of War Ragnarok, obviously.
God of War, yeah, definitely a good one. What?
Is that coming? Is that coming to PS4?
Yes.
Well, then I'll have to keep my PS4 until then. That's the only reason why I have a PS4.
It may have been
I'm
worth
holding on
getting.
for a couple games.
You might be able to get a Pro for cheap, depending on how it's looking. I don't know.
No,
if you can find
there's no
them.
such thing as a cheap Pro. Yeah, like I could sell my PS4 for more than what I paid for it right now because they're still hard to get.
Are you serious, man? Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, well, I don't even think they're making them anymore. I think they're just doing the regular base system and the PS5 and the PS5 all digital. That's it. So
You wouldn't think so. Anyway,
I mean, for me, definitely, I'm looking through this list right now of new games. Gran Turismo 7 coming out in March. Destiny 2, The Witch Queen. That's coming out in February.
We're not gonna play that.
Well, I mean, I know you want to play that, and then what else? Horizon Forbidden West. That's another game on your list. Just Crossfire
really good.
X. Yeah, we got a lot of February. I think is going to break a lot of people's pockets in this podcast, but I mean, for me, and then also later on during the year, Advanced Wars. I think that got pushed back to sometime in April. Right now, it's on the to be announced. And then I guess the most forward game I'm looking to in terms of new releases is Saints Row, the reboot. I'm ready for that one, and that trailer looked pretty awesome. So so I'm definitely excited about what's coming in the future. In terms of games I do want to play that have not come out yet, I mean that are already been out. With Matt's recommendations, I definitely do want to give Inscription a shot. That looks like a very interesting game, and Satisfactory. Believe it or not, yeah, I want to play Satisfactory. After seeing some of the reviews on that game, it's I'm happy I have a power enough PC to run it. So hopefully, if I can get my hands on that game, I'll definitely give it a go. So yes, I will do my homework, Matt, in 2022. So
it's all right. Satisfactory is a massive game. Well, really, it can be as big as you want it to be. But
all right, yeah.
You could play it for probably an hour or 2 hours, and you'll know if it gets its hooks in you or not. And then 100 hours later, or 4 a.m. in the morning after you start at 8 o'clock in the evening, you'll think, yeah, okay, this is my game.
Oh, so it's like a Civilization kind of thing.
Kind of. It's a first person.
Well, I'm just saying, like where the time just gets lost. You're like, just one more turn.
Yes. Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You'll look at it 10 o'clock. Okay, just another half hour, and then I'll go to bed. And then it'll be 2 a.m. and you'll be like, where did the time go? Yeah, definitely one of those, but very good. Glad you're going to pick it up.
Yeah. Oh, you go for it, Mr. Madness.
You guys have already touched up on a couple ones. Advance Wars. I love Advance Wars. I've been waiting for a new one for years. Definitely going to pick that one up. Talked about God of War. For me, the two biggest ones that I'm looking forward to, Suicide Squad. Hopefully, does get released next year. Really looking forward to the Suicide Squad. And there was one more that I was looking forward to, and I can't remember now. I just lost my spot. Oh, Hogwarts Legacy. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. Not sure if that's still going to come out in 2022, but as far as big third-party releases, I think those are two that I'm looking forward to. We'll see if they can meet the hype because they both have immense amounts of hype behind both of them, and I think they're really both going to show off what a next-gen game can do, at least for PS5 and Xbox Series X owners.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up on that because you touched on two of the games that are, that we have tentative release years when they might come out. But super super excited about the Harry Potter Hogwarts game also, and that Suicide Squad trailer that we saw just the other week has made me immensely excited for Suicide Squad. Also, I'm really curious to still see what type of cooperative gameplay there is in that, or if it's going to be single player, or how that interacts. I was watching IGN the other day, and in their video, they did say it is going to be cooperative gameplay. So it's not going to be a Guardian style or just strictly single player switching between characters. So I guess
Yeah,
that's more or
there's
less
a
confirmed.
4-player co-op mode that's
Yeah.
going to be in it. So I'll play anything Rocksteady does. They're one of the few developers that I will just play anything they put out.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Rocksteady is they have just a wonderful track record, and I'm excited to see those games. But a couple other ones, like we've already mentioned, that are more or less obvious would be, of course, God of War for me, Horizon, Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, and then there's also I'm excited for Tiny Tina's. Um, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. So I have so many Borderlands games, but just this one in a magical world. I think we've talked about also in a prior podcast that that's my realm. That's where I want to be when I play my games. Somewhere in between futuristic and mystical. And then there was also a Plague's Tale. I know this has actually been out for a little while, but it's actually coming out to consoles. So that'll make it a little bit easier for me to get my hands on that game. And I know what's it called? Starfield. Starfield
Yep.
is a tentative release year. We only know so much about it, but I'm really curious to see what that game brings to the table. And yeah, I'm keeping my eyes on it. And lastly, I'll mention Ollie Ollie World, because it is. I feel like before the Tony Hawk remake came out, this was the best skating game that we've had in a long time, and for some reason I like skating games. So, but yeah, like I said, this one, the art style and everything speaks to me, but I talked about that in depth earlier. And those are my games.
No one's mentioned Elden Ring yet.
I have no interest.
Yeah, I guess. Well, two games I did forget. One of them was an Elden Ring, but I just gotta put these two out there. WWE 2K22. It's going to be the first one that they put out in several years, so I'm a little curious to see what that's going to be about. That My Faction mode looks pretty nice, actually. Madness, I
But
know
they
you're a wrestling fan, so
I'm a wrestling fan, but they basically like killed the whole roster by all the cuts that they made.
yeah. It's I'm a little curious to see what the roster is going to be like. It may just be, who knows, just an Attitude Era based roster. I don't know, but yeah, they've been releasing a lot of guys. If you've been keeping up with the new wrestling news and all that
I
stuff,
mean,
and
the
then
graphics look phenomenal.
yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good game. So I'm pretty excited with the customization styles and everything that they bring to the table on that. Hopefully, it's better than the disaster what was WWE 2K20, and that was a very very bad game, as we all know. And then one more game that I almost forgot about was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah. Come on, Shredder's Revenge. I mean, doesn't anyone want to play that one? No.
Not really a Turtles fan.
What's wrong with you?
Really?
You're like the right age. How are you not a Turtles fan?
I've never played the games. I mean, I thought it was really funny when they did that live action film, but
Do you never you didn't grow up with the cartoon? It didn't make it over to Australia.
It was on for sure, but
You didn't get the British butchered version, did you?
No, I was about to say I did hear that
no nunchucks in that one, and it's
was
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Hero Turtles.
Matt, you
Yeah,
got
no,
some
that's what
homework,
that's
man. You got to play Turtles. Yeah, I'm
Look,
sorry. You
I'm
got
playing
you got
Mega
to.
Man. I'm playing Mega Man X. I'm still doing that. One thing at a time.
All right. After you're done with Mega
yeah.
Man
Don't
X, let me
overload the
know.
guy.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
like it's not like turtles are hard; they're just beat 'em ups.
Yeah, but I'm just not. It does.
It's
It
just drink
hasn't
a beer with
pulled
your
me in.
friend. Beat just mashing a couple buttons. It's not that hard.
It's not hard, but it's my time. My time is valuable. It needs to be the value
Says
add needs to be good.
says the guy who plays Power Washing Simulator.
Hey, that's my time away from work. That's how I unwind. And I tell
Don't
you
you have
what,
things at home to power wash?
I don't don't have a power washer. I've got a hose
Yeah.
with a weak stream.
It's
I can
not
just.
the kind. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same.
Come to my house and
No, that's
power
the
wash. I
point.
got some power washing that needs done.
Yeah, sure. Buy a ticket.
Yeah, okay. I won't go that far.
And the PCR test.
Yeah, and I forgot Elden Ring earlier. That's the reason why there's just too many. There's already too many games for next year. Next year is looking. I think next year is looking very equivalent to like 2011, when like there was just a massive amount of games that like came out and just buried me. And I I didn't have the means to afford even a fraction of the games that I wanted to play. But 2022 is looking beastly, just with all the delays and all the games that they're bringing to the table, and a lot of sequels. A lot of sequels, and I think that's kind of the most appealing part of it, because just the sequels they tend to be better in a lot of cases. So yeah.
It is going to be a big year, and
Mm.
yeah, it's going to be really funny because it's a lot of AAAs that have been pushing back to next year, right? And that's big bank. It's big time. Like we're already worried about the Great Resignation. I wonder if it's going to be the Great Sick Day, where everybody is just taking so much time off just so they can play all these games.
We don't
And
get
so-
sick time in America like you do over there.
Oh yeah. It's Australian culture to take a sickie. You go to work
Or
sick.
go
You save your sick days. for
go
when
on
you can use it.
holiday. Like you just took a holiday.
Have I told you guys the story about Dragon Quest in Japan?
No.
Oh yeah, they're not allowed to release it on a weekday.
Exactly.
Oh, I did hear
Too many
about that,
people will
actually.
take off.
Yeah. It's so
Yep.
funny.
I mean, we used to do that here. I have a good enough job where I do get vacation and sick days. We used to do that for like Call of Duty every year. I know that
Mhm.
sounds so terrible, right? But you want to get good first, right? So you got to learn all the maps and stuff. I just don't really get to do that anymore. There's nothing that really makes me say, okay, I got to take the day off work. But who knows? Maybe 2022 will have something.
Let me change your life. Power Wash Simulator. Give it a go.
That's what
It's
I
already
do.
That's
out
with
there.
literal
I
time.
don't got to take the day off.
That's what I do with Destiny one year. I took off a day off at work, and then I played for 23 hours straight, and then got nowhere. And I realized once I got a couple months, not even a couple, like couple weeks in, I was like, oh, I played 23 hours, and that grind was for absolutely nothing, because there's that they just have so many invisible gates that don't allow you to progress until they push more content forward or allow you to access that content. So yeah, I'll never be doing that again. But yeah.
I'm glad Dead Cells came for you. It sounds like
Just rescued him.
yep.
Yeah.
Games saved him from games.
Sometimes that's what you need.
a gift.
You need one game to save you from other games.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah,
On that somber
yeah, man. Just yeah, I'm happy I saved him from the game that is Destiny 2, and hopefully there's enough games coming out next year to the point that he'll just miss that expansion that they got coming in Destiny 2, at least for the month of February, because I think he really wants to play Horizon Forbidden West more than that. I think I could be wrong, but
I think if Elden Ring catches you well enough, that could be where all of your time goes. FromSoft games tend to have quite a hefty, they're kind of like
This
an
one?
iceberg on
You want to do that?
surface of things. There's like a little bit on top, and then there's a whole big game underneath.
Is this like their first major release on also Xbox as well?
It could well be, because obviously Bloodborne was a PlayStation exclusive. There hasn't been a Dark Souls release since 2016, maybe.
I'm looking here. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice came out. Are you really
Yes.
counting that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well that came
Brutal.
out on Xbox at the same time.
Okay. Well, yeah, I
I
think.
think
Look,
Dark Souls did too. I'm not really into Dark Souls. I don't like that type of. I'm not really into that type of third-person action games. Really,
and the
I don't
style
like
of play. Like I talk to my cousin
Yeah.
a lot about it. He's like, no, I don't want to play a game that just forces me to die and then restart and keep doing the same things over and over and over again. It definitely takes
see,
the
but
right person to see it.
But that doesn't bother me in a game like Dead Cells or Super Meat Boy.
But the feeling of progression is important. Like that's why FromSoft games haven't been labeled roguelite or roguelike, because your progression after you die is sitting where you died. Like you have to go and get that progression. Otherwise, if you die again, you lose it. Like there's way more pressure than something like Dead Souls.
Or Hades, I think is right. So like I guess maybe I like to feel like I'm accomplishing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps. All right. So anyway, before we move on to our next topic, any new hardware that you guys want to pick up? Like if you guys are trying to get a new PC, I know Madness, you said you were in the market for a new PC, PS5, Xbox Series,
Probably not.
XS, or
I
even
keep
one of the,
saying,
or any of the
I-
retro consoles, clone consoles like the Analog or any of those. No. Yeah, maybe. Or you guys are happy with what you got. All right.
unless
we're
something
gonna-
comes out of nowhere. I mean,
Oh, sorry.
no, you can go.
I was gonna say the only thing I've been eyeballing is like VR headsets and stuff like that, but
Oh,
it's
right
like
on.
more like be kind of cool to try it out.
I got one of me. I got one. See, I
Well,
didn't even talk about
curiosity.
it, but I did get me an Oculus last year. I definitely recommend an Oculus, or I'm sorry, it's not Oculus anymore. It's Meta, the Meta Quest, which is like the dumbest name ever.
Did they
Oh,
literally rename it to that? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Sorry, Celine.
it's
Yeah.
the Meta Quest
no worries.
now.
I actually came across something because of the Facebook as a company renaming their company to Meta. Apparently, it's the Hebrew word for dead.
Lovely.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be
Dark
selling
art.
off their stock a little bit. Might be some insider trading going on there.
Yeah. Well,
I mean-
apparently it kind of brings out a bit of a joke to the Hebrew speakers who know Facebook as a company.
I started with the PSVR, moved to a Quest 2 because it's all wireless, and I really like the all wireless really makes it. I don't have to be tethered to anything.
Yeah, I think the Quest 2 is the go-to for
If
people looking
if
for
I
VR.
could be on it and record this at the same time, I think I would. It would be interesting.
Yeah, it probably would. Maybe we could try it next year on the show.
I thought about it.
We'll have to start a collaborative meta workspace, and we'll record a podcast as 3D avatars on a table in a conference room. Maybe that's what we need to
Alright.
do.
Let me know how that goes. I'll just just be the host with no VR gear on. I'm not doing all that.
Our VR gear is in storage and it's a PlayStation 1 anyway.
All right.
They might
Okay,
behave.
so all right, moving on. I mean, hopefully, for your listeners and viewers out there, hopefully you have an idea of what is to come for 2022. If you ever want to game with us on any of these games or talk more, definitely feel free to reach out to us on our personal platforms. With that being said, we're going to take this time right now to talk about the future, the status of the podcast and the future as a brand going forward. And I'm going to let Finance take it away from here. So this is a kind of a public service announcement for us. So Finance, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, this is just more of a thank you. We've been 3 months strong. So I just like to give everyone listening and everyone that's been a participant in our little social experiment of grabbing people across the world, really, to participate in this podcast and helping out, just providing your views, your perspectives, and just sharing your thoughts and everything, and making the podcast better. What we can do to fix time zones, and just really taking the time out of your days, for you listeners, for taking the time out of your days to listen and support us through just showing us that our voices are important, and that you enjoy our voices, more or less, and for everyone that's taken the time out of their day. We just recorded a 2-hour podcast, and I don't take that lightly. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for dealing with internet issues and tardiness on our parts, and things like that. But in terms of the future, we want to keep the podcast going as long as possible right now. So we really look to the community to help support us in continuing this podcast and keeping it going. So I mean, any donations is much appreciated. You can reach out to us at gamingwatchpodcast@gmail.com and ask your questions and talk to us. We're just everyday people who work our regular jobs and that love talking video games with each other, and just kind of putting our voices out there. So yeah, if you feel so inclined, please donate to patreon.com/ourviewgaming. That's OurViewGaming. Our View Gaming. And yeah, we have a lot of things coming. So in terms of things that we have coming, we're going to do a trailers podcast. You will see that in the beginning of the new year. We want to do that as often as possible, and we want everyone involved. So you'll see multiple different people with different games that they highlight, and we hope those games that each one of us talks about speaks to someone, no matter what type of gaming you want to do, or what type of gaming you like, I should say. And then we're gonna break up these podcasts a little bit. So we'll do highlights, and provide you with some more snippets for those people that are on the go, just like we are, and you'll be able to listen to, rather than listening to a 2-hour podcast or hour and a half or wherever that looks like, you'll be able to listen to maybe 10 minutes of an episode and be able to enjoy that. And other than that, we're just going to keep on having conversations behind the scenes in order to bring you more content, more streams. Streaming is a big focus for me right now, and I know for me personally, I'm getting my game capture card for Christmas, and that's to be my Christmas present to myself, only so I can bring more gaming content to everyone out there. But once again, that's all I really have. Thank you to everyone here, and thank you to everyone out there, and that's all I got.
Well said.
Yeah, very well said, Finest. Yeah, couldn't have put it better myself. Definitely support the show in the future going forward. We're not going away. 2022 is looking very good, looking very, very good. So we're gonna do the release rundown, what we're playing, any New Year shout outs or anything like that, and then I'm gonna close the show. So the release rundown, it's only one game, Lacuna. It's already out on the PC, but if you want it on the PS4 or Xbox One, it's coming out the 21st. And for the Switch, it is coming out a week later on the 28th. Anyone here played that game or know much about it for that matter? No.
Nope.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to one of my favorite parts of the show. What are we playing? Who wants to kick it off?
I'm going to be playing The Gunk this week, I think. I'll probably whip Lake out as well. Give that a go. I'm not sure how much time I'll actually have in the lead up to Christmas to play games, so those two are on my list at the moment.
I mentioned
Yeah.
earlier that I finished It Takes Two just this evening, just right before recording. So we'll, but I'll probably be continuing on with Tales of Vesperia and a couple of other lighter games.
For me, it's going to be a Death's Door and Hot Wheels. So those are the games. I have a week off for vacation or holiday, and yeah, I hope to play some games as much as possible.
For me, it's going to be Quake and Pac-Man 256, maybe Alien Isolation, and maybe possibly FTL. Those are my go-to games.
It's awesome. And you stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/electrancy, right?
Yeah. I try to do it on Saturdays and Sundays. Right now, I think I'm on the Sunday rotation.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Put it in the show notes.
Will do.
Playing Forza. You know me, love me my Forza. And Mortal Kombat X, new to Game Pass. And I will also probably check out Lake. But yeah, it is the week before Christmas. So who knows? I got all that gifts to wrap, you know?
Yep.
Mhm.
Is Giddy still with us? Oh,
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Am I audible?
yeah, I was just kind of
Mhm.
reaffirming. I was just re-asking, what games are you playing at the moment?
So I think this week I'll be probably playing Valorant. I've seen like a lot of Twitch streamers getting into Valorant, and I've been watching them stream. So I want to try it out. I've watching them play it for so long that yeah, I've been excited about it all day. So maybe I'll start playing that this week.
For me, let's see. I know I've been kind of all over the place with my games this week. I even popped in GTA 5 into my PS4 to try to do that contract mission, but I don't even have enough money. And I don't feel like grinding for the money, so I'll just wait till next month when I have enough money, because I guess they give you $1 million every month for logging in. So aside from that, definitely Forza Horizon 5. I've been playing that, and then I've also been fooling around like with some streaming. So streaming personally, I'm going to be doing it on 3 platforms: YouTube, my personal YouTube channel, my Twitter, and Twitch. So more people can watch my streams instead of at one place. They can watch it in multiple places, whatever's comfortable for them. But I've been doing the old Super Mario Advance game, Super Mario Advance 4, which is Super Mario 3. And apparently, if you find the correct ROM for it, they have a bunch of those old e-reader levels. I don't know if you guys remember those, but the
Oh, I remember
e-reader,
them.
yeah. That wasn't rolled out very well, but apparently they're all, it's like a whole list of
I
them.
remember
So I've been
working at
trying.
GameStop and nobody
Yeah,
ever bought one, ever.
yeah. It was a terrible rollout, but apparently all the levels are in this ROM. So if you can find it, yeah, definitely give it a go. Some of the levels are interesting, some are harder than others. So I've been playing that, and then definitely want to do some more. Want to get into some more Forza Horizon 5, and yeah, just a whole bunch of games I want to play. But I guess since it did win Game of the Year, I guess I should give It Takes Two a try. So I will
Hey, if you
definitely
need
do
somebody
that.
to play with, we'll play together.
Dude, his friend just
Mhm.
drove from halfway across the country to hang out. I think they're
You
going to
can't
play
play
together.
on the same. You can't.
You
No,
can.
no. Play with me.
Can.
You can't play the same console. You're right. I forgot about that. But just play with me, damn it. I need
All
somebody
right,
to play with.
I'll let you know if I'm playing. I'll let you know when I'm playing. But yeah,
You can have
we're gonna be
multiple
doing
saves,
that.
you can play it with different people.
Don't have to fight over each other. Just
I didn't know I was in that high demand.
Well, if
All
anybody
right,
wants to play It Takes Two with me, I'm open. So let me know.
for sure. I'll keep you in mind, Mr. Madness. All right, so that's gonna take us to our show close. Any any final year, any Happy New Year wishes you want to wish? Anyone you want to shout out before we close this show for the year?
I just want to have 2 shout outs. First, that you did briefly say before that I went on holiday. I did, because I'm on my work break at the moment. and I went to a beach town in Australia, in Victoria, like maybe an hour and a half out of Melbourne, called Torquay. And the first place I went to, there was a bloke who saw me on our podcast Discord and wondered what it was. And I told him I was part of a podcast and he wanted to listen to it immediately. So if that bloke is still listening at the end of this episode, shout out to you, my friend. The first Game and Watch podcast listener that I've met in person. Conversions
Are you
happening everywhere.
serious? Dang.
Yeah, it's pretty
Nice.
cool.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
the second one is that I actually did a podcast recording that will be coming out in the next couple of days, or if it may be out already. I'm not sure. But I talked to Max on the Loading Bar podcast just about a bit more about me and about the really weird games that I play and how they can be used in teaching. It was a really great conversation, really good podcast as well. So check out the Loading Bar if you have an opportunity, and listen to a little bit more from me if you want to know more about me.
Yeah, definitely post a link in our Discord when it's out. Definitely, I'll definitely give it a listen. Listen.
We'll
All
do.
right,
He
any other
makes
shout
really good
outs?
stuff.
I'll shout out my own personal podcast, Mark and JD podcast. We're out there on everywhere. Um, episode 66, I think we just did, but we're on a little hiatus right now. But I did recently unearth really old episodes from like 10 years ago that we did. So I'm gonna
Ooh.
remaster and put them out as like a best of. So really excited about that. But yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to you guys. Was missing this kind of thing. Talking about games every week because my wife only can deal with it so much.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling, and yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely when we get more, we probably do have enough content for what we did before. We could put out a best of show, but yeah, I mean, that's something we should look at later on down the line. Any other shout outs? Anyone want to shout out anyone or any
Yeah,
podcast?
yeah. I want
You
to
know?
shout out to my cousin, Bad Sector.
Mhm.
Yeah, he started Twitch stream like years ago. He was kind of a pioneer into it, um, and so he knows a lot more about it than I do. But yeah, he's got himself a Twitch stream and pretty good following there. So yeah, shout out to Bad Sector.
All right. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. All right.
I would say probably my big
oh,
one is to Zanity System, who is my co-host on Fragmented Minds. Things have been absolutely chaotic this autumn season for him, so I think hopefully things will start to calm down now. So hopefully, in spite of personal events, I hope he can have a great Christmas and New Year.
It's really
all right.
nice.
All right. That's really nice. Anyone else want to do any shout outs? Fine if you want to do any, or you good? No,
No.
you're good. All right. Okay, I'm gonna shout out 3 people. Well, maybe 4. So yeah, one of the guys is in our Discord. Chingon Retro Boy 79. I recently found out that he was in the hospital. I guess I'm not sure if he has COVID or pneumonia. So he's one of our good listeners. So I hope he gets well soon. Very very unfortunate. Hate to see anyone like that. So I'm keeping up with him, making sure he's good to go home, good to go home to his family. Really sucks to hear that happen at this time of year. Shout out to everyone on this podcast. When finance approached me about wanting to launch it after our over almost 2-year hiatus. Well, we actually did one episode in 2020, but I was like, all right, let's get on board with it, and I'm just blessed that we found so many people to do the show, and that we got it going. I think we do got some momentum right now, especially with Giddy and Electrancy joining us today. I mean, I know that 2022 is going to be very great, so definitely shout out to everyone on this podcast here. Last 2 people I want to shout out is my baby girl, my daughter Celine. She has the same name as you, Celine, but yeah.
Different spelling, though, if I recall, right?
Yeah, different spelling, yeah, with a C, like Celine Dion. But yeah, just she's been a blessing. I love her very much, and she's definitely a loud one when I watch her by myself. So she's she's been a trooper throughout all this. And I also want to shout out my wife, Robo. Yeah, her name is Robo. Uh, yeah, she's also been a trooper when I do these podcasts. In terms of keeping her quiet and everything. Sometimes they'll go somewhere, because doing a podcast isn't very easy. So you want to make sure you got all the silence you can. Background noise isn't very good. So just want to shout out those guys for the most part, and of course you guys as a podcast. Um, so I'm just gonna go ahead close the show here for my partner next to me, Finest Dabs, Mr. Rview Gaming himself, Geedy, Electrancy, Mr. Madness, Matt, and Celine. This is Justin Reed, aka Too Tall for You Fool, just wishing everyone a happy holidays, whatever the case may be, and a happy new year. 12 minutes. Come on. No.
Game of the year.
It's end of the year, man. All right. Yeah. Just happy holidays, happy New Year's. And we are out. Our next show will be in 2022, probably the first week of 2022. That's when we plan on being back on your airwaves. Thank you, and so long. Have a good one.
See you next year.
Stay safe.